guys, this is Ogre Barbarian, also known as Brett on the Reddit, and you're listening to the Oddsman Broadcast. With me, as always, we have...
Doom.
Oh, no, I thought it was you first. Oh, no. Hello, everyone. Hey, everybody, this is Doombox, also known as Doombox on the forums.
Hey, guys, this is Daniel, also known as DPO427 on Reddit.
And with us today, we have a special guest.
My name is Angelo. I'm known as Duloth on YouTube and Discord, and Gurthor on Reddit. Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you for joining us. We're going to go ahead and dive right in. Doombox, take it away.
Alrighty, so first things first, of course, we got our new challengers. Let's talk about Batman Beyond. Massive hit chance down clutch character. Phenomenal as an assist for any kind of evasion-based team, invisibility-based team. He does fantastic burst damage. He's reasonably fast at a decent 110, so easily acceleratable by Cheetah and the like. And all in all, I mean, he's a gigantic crit machine, so obviously he has some troubles against the likes of Superman and Supergirl and all those, but he actually does incredibly well against the common meta picks, such as Power Girl and so on. So, honestly, this character, I feel like given some time, considering everyone's getting him for free, he could make quite the impact in the meta once people get around to using him. The only problem is that if you are using Steppenwolf against Batman Beyond, he basically does not exist. So that's a bit of a shame. But, I mean, you know, who's really using Steppenwolf nowadays? Except for, I guess, Duloth. Anyways, so what do you think, Ogre, about this new character?
I'm excited for him. I'm excited that he's finally going to be able to be somebody to help Scarecrow out. I really like Scarecrow, and I'm really hoping that he's the missing piece that we needed. But we'll see.
DP?
I played with him a bit. I had him geared up to gear 10, and then I only put a few points into his abilities. Overall, the thing that I like about him is the fact that he gets like double procs on his basics when you upgrade his legendaries. So like putting him on Colossus teams looks really fun because he gets really obnoxious. But otherwise, I mean, to me personally, because as you're talking about Steppenwolf, I feel like he's good and all, but he's still kind of like he needs a little bit of a setup for him to be great. Like when you compare him to other months' freebie character, he doesn't sort of stand alone like Etrigan or Power Girl or so on, right? So that's sort of like what's missing for me.
Interesting. What do you think, Duloth?
Yeah, everything they said is on point, but there's something that you have to consider, even if you have Steppenwolf, because it only negates the evasion, let's say, part, the hit chance part, but it doesn't prevent him from creating, or because he will exploit his hit chance down, or even the Scarecrow one, and benefit from them. So if you target him, let's say you have an opposing Steppenwolf on the fence, you will just attack him with your Batman Beyond, and you will benefit from your hit chance down. It's something to consider, because I was using him against Steppenwolf just to test him. But again, I am like one of the 5 people using him, using Steppenwolf, so there's not even common to test.
So you're saying like the debuffs,
it's nice.
Yeah, the debuffs stay there, so he still benefits from them, right?
Yeah. Because and with his third, you will get 10% damage for every chance down. So even if it doesn't benefit from them because they won't miss, it will do a lot of damage.
Also keeping in mind that his hit chance downs last for 2 turns, meaning if it's just you and him, you already lose. You literally cannot win that fight. It's impossible.
Yeah.
So,
especially if you double dip into the first.
Cheetah might give him a run for his money.
Cheetah.
Just saying.
Yeah, well,
Not that I'm a
her
big
run
character
for my
fan,
money
but-
can try to chew through 20 hit chance downs. That 100% hit chance isn't going to matter. But
That's fair. That's fair. But something I do want to point out, I know we're kind of knocking on his kid a little bit and saying, oh, Steppenwolf this and blah, 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 Supergirl that. And it's like, sure, those characters will shut down part of his kit, but it only shuts down one half of it. The other half of it's still good.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, he still goes invisible to protect himself. He still is either going to crit or he's going to apply hit chance downs, both of which
Or
are really
both.
annoying. So, I mean, you can't shut them all the way off.
very true. Also, another fun fact. If you use Constantine's thing where you put taunt on him, his hit chance double procs can trigger each time, so he can hit up to 4 times. It's hilarious to watch him just hit every single person once, and then they spend the rest of their time missing Harley Quinn. So, on to the next character, Killer Croc. Now, something I want to pose as a question. Killer Croc happens to be the exact same speed as Batman Beyond at 110. So is Batman Beyond slow, or is Killer Croc fast?
I think speed is irrelevant.
You think so? Well, of course you think so.
I
You
think
play
so.
chemo.
I do.
If you think of, so you're saying this,
But,
the
I
max
mean,
speed is
here's the
110?
other thing about both of their kits. Both of their kits allow you to do things out of turn to a degree. So,
They get passive stuff.
yeah.
Mhm.
So, I mean,
Okay, so
if they were faster, they'd be more broken than they are.
if we're using the barometer of 110 being the speed and we're judging by max speed at that point, then I guess you could say that I guess Batman Beyond is sort of at par of where a character like him should be, and a character like Killer Croc is actually faster than what we would think he would be. So I think
That's what I was thinking too.
Killer Croc is faster if you think of it that way.
I honestly expected Killer Croc to be Bane speed because of how big and
Yeah.
bulky he is,
I
but
figured the same
then
thing.
he can clip it around.
Frankly, I thought the
Like
same.
I think-
Vader speed.
I think that WB has come to the realization that speed does matter. And unless a character can go out of turn quite a bit, aka Bane, then they're going to need at least to have a certain level of speed.
Mm-hmm.
But you
What do you think, Duloth?
Yeah, I think he's pretty fast. I didn't have any chance to test him in depth because on paper speed is important, but when you have the out of turn occurrences, it's a lot of different. But this siege and other events just prevented me to play with him. I think I faced him twice, and he was L through, but not really convinced about him. I will need to test it.
I mean, I
So-
fought him at L5 once, but that's neither here nor there. But so talking about this character, right? Incredibly fast, very good at acceleration, 80%, or was it 90% turn meter?
90.
If you've got 5 bleeds on the enemy team and 2 turns of invisibility,
I'm hyped.
bonkers.
Yeah, I'm hyped for him. I just want this Superman event to be done because I can't play anything. I can test anything because I'm at my parents, so I don't have that much time to experiment. And I just want this event to be over, so I can play with him in the next days. I did buy his gems, and I did even gear him to gear 9 to start my testing process. I will go gear 9, gear 10, gear 11. So he seems nice, and I really love his character. I've been let's say Michael from our guild, from Alliance, made me notice that it's like Red Robin with his ability to debuff, attack out of turn, and stuff like that. So he was saying to me that he maybe goes lower on the gearing up because of that. But beside that, he really seems nice to me, and his kit is one of the best I've seen. Red are usually the one with punch them in the face kit, like Bane or Arrows or whatever. He has a nice kit. He has a lot of stuff to go on, and I want to use him with the other cheaters.
Speaking of Red Robin, actually, that brings up a very fascinating thing: buff immunity. Man, his buff immunity reaches 100% if the enemy has taunt, which he can force on them. And can we just talk for a second about how absolutely busted buff immunity is in the current meta? Actually,
stupid.
DP, since you're such a big fan of Superman, who gets tons and tons of buffs whenever anyone gets hit by a crit, and also taunts, tell me about how you would feel if every time you wanted to do anything, you just could not.
That would make me sad. That was it. That's the Superman users will get very sad.
It's my reaction
Superman,
every time I go.
Power there's a lot of characters that are going to be really sad. Bane.
Yeah. And I mean, thinking about it, right? Between Killer Croc and Batman Beyond, there's an interesting design space that exists right now, because with Killer Croc, strength ups are basically a non-factor because he just eats them. He can throw out buff immunity, so even buff heavy characters aren't going to be great. He's such an effective magic bullet for the likes of Power Girl and Arcus and really Constantine and anybody that one has to wonder where do they even go from there. But that's enough on Killer Croc. Honestly, he's a paywall character. Who's really going to have him, right?
There was one thing I wanted to point out about.
I've got him L1.
Sorry. There's one.
Go ahead.
I want to chime in about Killer Croc. There was one thing that I was noticing on Reddit. I can't remember who, but I think it was Holy Degnabbit, which is Alexi, I think. I
think so.
Yeah. Or someone was pointing out the fact that like he was kind of brought in a lot of the way his kit was built to sort of to counter the invisible meta, which was basically Clayface and the Robins and so on. And one thing that they noticed that it kind of while it does what it's intended to do on paper and on a basic level, in reality, if Clayface is still around, most of the time you're hitting Clayface. What happens is you're putting taunt back on Clayface, which is the problem. Yeah. So you keep on hitting Clayface, and you never get around to hitting the other guys, which is the problem. Do you know what I mean? So it ends up being really awkward. So yeah,
but they have to hit you in some manner. So there's so much AOE, and because on defense you cannot choose that. You will just end up being hit by, let's say, Power Girls open up with her AOE usually. So does the green.
That's the thing about. I mean, if we're talking about Power Girl teams, but if you think of, let's say, Robin, Clayface, Red Robin, and let's say Bane, for example, right? None of those characters have AOE except for Clayface, right? So what happens is that if Clayface hits you, you put taunt on him. If you hit Clayface, he's still taunting, and so on and so forth, right?
But there's buff immunity. There's buff immunity on him. You will purge and buff immunity on him. So what do you want?
Actually pick up the taunt.
Okay, well, I don't know. From what people were saying on Reddit was that you end up just hitting Clayface a lot. It's what it's.
Yeah, that's the point. He has the taunt. You will purge him. So thank you. Bye.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well.
So Ogre, as someone who's pretty proficient on using bleed teams, what do you think about him as a sort of physical alteration to the likes of Dr. Poison, who's really, aside from Joker, the only other physical bleeder?
Lobo.
Lobo and Red Hood beg to differ, but
who uses Lobo anymore? That is so March.
I do.
Lobo is on every single team I have, and I actually just got him to L5.
Oh yeah, sweet.
Yeah, well, that's why you lose.
No, I lose because I don't play.
But so what do you think about him, though?
Exactly. I really like Killer Croc. I'm actually looking forward to the buff immunity aspect of him, and I highly recommend his 3 as the first upgrade for him if you're going to take at least a legendary 1 Killer Croc to a bleed team, because it is his 3rd move that goes off with his passive. So passing around the buff immunity is definitely a good thing, and it's purging the buffs is something that bleed teams has kind of been lacking anyway. So I'm really looking forward to using him.
No, that's
Besides Red Hood, right? Besides Red Hood.
I've actually heard arguments for the opposite, saying that you should get 3 last, because then the taunt stays on them for longer and you can continue to get more procs.
But the point is that as I was saying before, Clayface is in, let's say, 70% of the teams I face, and so you want him to be debuffed. And there's this with Bane, and again, there are so many targets you can choose to attack. And if Steppenwolf, if you notice their pattern, I will just open a bracket here. If you notice their pattern of sales. Usually when a 2-day sales, one sale from one of the featured character appears. And I was expecting today to be Steppenwolf because 2 sales were ending and Steppenwolf didn't appear yet. But again, beside that, if you check his kit, he has the ability to just nullify in a POT style some characters. And you want that on Bane or whoever. So I'm with Ogre here, and I think that 3 is the best one, even though it's like Red Robin, because that's what it does. And I was considering to get 3 and 1 then. Let's talk about that order, because I don't like the Christians up in a bleeder. So I suppose that 2 and 4 were the last. So personally, I would go to L4. And so I would go 3, 1, 5.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But enough about Croc. As I said,
Okay.
We got to move on. We got time limits. Let's talk about some changed characters, a little bit of nip tuck. So, Batgirl no longer gives intelligence up when her allies evade. However, it's now changed from a one-person heal to a full team heal every time someone evades. They gain crit chance immunity, and everyone starts with 3 evasion up. What a mess. Oh my goodness, how annoying.
Yeah.
But, I mean, otherwise she basically fulfills a similar function to Batman Beyond, not in the way that she puts hit chance downs, but in the way that she's a general support, disruptor type with a bit of burst damage. But what do you guys think about this new Batgirl? Do you think she's better, worse? Do you think the intelligence up loss is kind of a big deal, or...
I don't think the intelligence up loss is actually a big deal, because I don't really think any of the characters that have evasion are intelligence based.
Yeah.
So
the only one,
it only affected the heal.
It only affected Livewire,
and
I think is the only one. She has evasion and is special damage. But
she gives herself intelligence. Who cares?
yeah, she doesn't need. Yeah,
I think
I did like that the intelligence up actually gave them defense against special damage, but there's just so little of it.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, now that you have Etrigan, it's different, but like, there was just so little of it, and it literally only affected the heal that she offered. So, I don't know.
What do you think?
I like her overall.
I like her. She's the same issue as Canary and Batman Beyond in Steppy. But beyond that, she's gross because R3 killed on stream my Etrigan from fully overhealed. So
she does a ton of damage. She does surprising damage, like especially like when you look at her kit, when you compare it to her previous version, like it's definitely a huge improvement. So, and they didn't do too much to it. They just did enough that it made her significantly better. And I think that's what they're trying to do for the rest of the reworks, right? That's what they said. So they're doing a good job.
Yeah. This is it's gross. I don't have the resources to level them up, the rings especially. So I just skipped there, thinking about next month. But she is so fun. When you have to consider her a big threat, because the heal, as Doombax made notice, is team wide. So if you start missing, and they always have the stupid Harlequin Magister with 9 evasion up at start, your first turn, whatever you have in your first turn, is buff yourself and pass. Because if you go against Harlequin Magister, you will miss. So I just pass on everyone until I get to Steppenwolf, and then I obliterate them. But if she kicks someone, it's a pain. So it's a nice rework. Just Steppenwolf effect.
DP, thoughts? Do you agree? Disagree?
Yeah. Like I said, I think overall the way they reworked her, they just did enough to make her significantly better than she was before, but they didn't go crazy, right? The thing that I like the most about using her now that she's been reworked and I'm using her, is her second ability, because she doesn't actually do damage, so kind of like Constantine's first ability. She can purge she always purges buffs off other characters. She puts evasions on herself. And that sort of ability sort of works counter against other evaders, right? Or other characters with counterattacks. And it always
DP.
So, yeah?
Someone in my insight told me that countering counterattackers isn't actually countering them, because you don't actually stop them from attacking you normally. You just shut down the other 90% of their kit.
That's true. That's fair enough.
That's not a counter, according to the community.
Well, okay, technically the word counter here is not the right word here, but you don't get hit in the face by Arcus or something like that. So.
Very true. So, my salt aside, so we all pretty much agree. Batgirl, fantastic, very supportive now, actually even more so than she used to be. Let's talk about Black Canary. Fishnets, still very fashionable. That aside, I don't know. I'm really not feeling her new team leader ability. Like, I understand the point of it is that, at the end of her turn, she throws a bunch of evasion on people, which I think lasts 2 turns. And then if everyone has evasion, she can stick some awareness on them if they gain evasion, but only one. The weirdest line in the sand to draw, only one of time can they have awareness. And if they have awareness, they can't get any more. Yeah. And then past that point, she throws out her haymaker. It makes no sense. Honestly, I don't like it compared to the other one where she was just throwing evasion on everyone else. But aside from that, her kit's pretty much the same. I think Canary Cry now reduces hit chance instead of crit chance, something like that. Or did it always reduce hit chance? I can't remember. No one's ever used her.
Crit chance.
So she's pretty good. Change. She's basically like Scarecrow's Fear Gas, only it's a set value instead of randomly from 2 to 4, which is nice. But again, I mean, when you have people like Steppenwolf around, it doesn't really matter that much. And she's still a assist calling juggernaut. And actually, considering that there's the likes of Constantine now, I think she's gotten a lot better, because her minus 40% turn meter on her basic, if they're not evading, is just mind-blowingly good. And throwing taunt on her when she can call in counterattacks if you miss her is mind-numbingly good. She's all around just such a good character right now. I just don't like that leader. So what do you think, Ogre?
I think she's in a good spot. She definitely got a little bit more interesting. So I'm looking forward to playing with her. I still don't have my legendary though, so sad about that. I think people have about as much legendary Black Canary as they do legendary White Lantern. So that's. What do you think, DP?
Yeah, I started farming her when she was in the Alliance pack rotations. So I got her up to legendary recently, but I haven't geared her out yet, so I haven't actually played with her. But the one thing I have noticed playing against her is sort of what Ogre brought up in another podcast, is that she has a tank class kit, right, or gear set. So she's really hard to kill. She's really beefy. So it's something that you don't really expect when you sort of look at these type of characters. You expect them to be sort of like Glass Cannon-y. It's just the complete opposite. She hits hard and she can take a hit too. So that's really something to be.
She reminds me of the evasive Bane.
Yeah, that's probably a good way to think about it. It's one of those things that's just weird, right? Just the way you look at certain characters, you don't expect them to be like that. Like when you look at Bane, you expect him to be tanky, but when you look at Black Canary, it's sort of like when we saw Etrigan being so fast, I was just really confused.
Yeah.
Speaking of Etrigan, Duloth, what do you think?
About Canary, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I think you are undervaluing something. Just use her with Constantine, and your opponents are in a world of hurt, because she's the red Captain Cold. She is bonkers. Because she will get so much turn meter up and so much from those evasion that she will retaliate every now and then. I've tested her a bit, just not that much. I really like her kit. The issue is that Killer Croc is more fascinating to me. But as I said, she has more life than Captain Cold. She seems like a better Captain Cold if you can taunt her. And then Constantine, call her turn meter down move, and call her assist with the evasion up. You give taunt on her. Let's don't publish this podcast, okay?
The secret's under lock. We'll edit this out.
I have her at L2. So I had to choose the legendary, and I want to go for the 1 and 3 because 3 seems like interesting, and I wanted to build her in a call assist to meter down composition.
Interesting. So, final character on the docket. Surprise rework, again, sort of. Superman, the most boring character in existence. Still, he was almost interesting back in the day when he could apply bleeds, even though it didn't make sense. But now all he is some buff immunity guy. Who cares? Overheals, pshaw. But, man, is he fast right now? He gained, I think, 8 points of speed, putting him at 122. It's crazy. Surprisingly enough, this actually makes defensive Superman slightly weaker because his taunts don't come through for as long. But it makes offensive Superman, I mean, if you can call it that, he doesn't really do much except for I-beam and punch. But man, he can lay some groundwork. He can keep someone stun locked like no one's business. Also, he's fast enough now that he can make a very, very, very handy counter to Harley Quinn. Turn 1, I-beams, no evasion gains. Yeah. What you gonna do now? Probably sit there and still evade half the time because, But as our resident Superman guy, DP, why don't you tell me your thoughts on this speed change?
Well, I'll say a few things about his gear set. The way they've changed it was a big surprise to me because I thought that they were just gonna tweak his kit a bit. Okay, that was to be expected. But then the fact that they put a whole stats rework, they added more intelligence to him too. They added a little bit more strength, speed, obviously, and overall HP pool got bigger. Everything got better. So I think there wasn't anything that got worse. So the way that I see it is that he's really, really good at setting up for the rest of your team, like you're saying. So the fact that his heat vision puts buff immunity, which is really important, as we were saying before, on certain characters, it'll allow you to set up your plays for the rest of the turn. Like one of the most important characters to deal with right now is Bane, for example, or any of the revivers, or like Swamp Thing, for example. So you can put heal immunity or buff immunity and or buff immunity on the relevant characters, and then the other guys can go after can kill them or hit them without worry, right? So that's really, really important right now. So I think that the fact that adding that speed on top of the way his kit has been reworked is huge. It's what probably put him into the top tier. I mean, I wouldn't say maybe the top tier of characters, but he's really up there right now. So.
Interesting. Well, I'm bored, so let's go ahead and move on to more interesting things. Talking about Superman just made me tired.
I think Duloth might have something to say about it.
No. Don't get me started on this because I will start singing and I will start dancing around the room. It's just awesome. I've been playing game before.
In him when he lost his bleeds. So.
It's a shame for you, but so I will cut it short. I was using him before his buff as my leader, just because he was a huge mid shield. But after that, he's just we always whine that Darkseid is into the game. Hey, we have a new god here, so it's okay for me. I'm his version of Darkseid. So just go on, skip me.
Are you putting in a lot of work in the Superman PvP? Are you trying to get those fragments? Don't you already have them at L5?
He's like in,
No,
aren't you in,
no,
like,
no.
top 10
I don't.
right now. Like I was looking at that.
I was. No, I'm like 10, 17. The issue is that I couldn't play for the whole Friday and Saturday. I have him at. I'm missing 256 shards. So top 35 won't do it for me. And so I need top 10. And the issue is that the competition is fierce. And I don't know why there are so many L5 guys playing into the top. I don't know why. Just they have.
It's like in Magic, they want a Dream Crush.
Yeah, but I don't know why. There's no use into the excess shards, and the competition again. It's fierce.
Dream Crush. That's all it is. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the next section.
Yeah. Let's go. Let's keep it.
Alrighty. So moving on from the characters selection, let's go ahead and bring it on over
good transition.
to.
We were talking about Superman in the arena, so let's dive into the arena.
Okay.
Yeah, perfectly.
Go ahead.
So let's go ahead and take a quick look at how the March characters have impacted PvP now that they've had a little over a month of playtime. Etrigan is a flippin' monster, apparently. I don't have a problem with him, but
Yeah, me either.
apparently everybody else in the world does. I just kind of laugh at him, so
Same.
that's what Camo does, intelligence-based characters.
Yeah.
So
I laugh at him with that my own Etrigan, literally.
Yeah. I think a lot of the reason why people are worried, or not worried, but complaining, I guess, about Etrigan being quote unquote OP is the fact that like most of the people, like if you consider how the meta's been shifting throughout, the last few months, people have been basing their team compositions around the new characters as they come out, and as they should be, which makes sense. That's good character design. The fact that a new character comes out, you want to build a team around them, right? So the last few months have been all physical-based characters, Clayface being a huge tank, Red Robin, and so on and so forth. So all these characters are right. They're all physical strikers or tanks, or like they're all based around agility or strength ups. And special damage isn't something that really people were prepared for. And here comes a big special damage monster, just ignores all your agility and all that stuff, just rips you apart. So that's probably the biggest reason why the complaints are sort of like, well, we're not ready for this. What do we do? So, yeah, I mean,
you lick the floor.
Yeah. I mean, I personally don't see the problem with him. I handle him just fine. But you also have to keep in mind, I run basically a full mend team. So none of his stuff matters because no one ever dies on my team. Like he's like, oh, I'm overhealed. I'm swiping twice. And I'm like, damage immunity. Okay, well, thanks for swiping twice. I guess he didn't do anything. He's like, oh, fire
credit
breath.
card
And
denied.
I'm like, heal. And then Bane just like steps on him and is like, oh, well, that sucks. Or Swamp Thing will be like, oh, heal immunity. Enjoy being an invalidated character.
Yeah.
So you are one of those guys running Enchantress, Bane, Clayface, and Swamp Thing?
Ew, goodness, no. I would never run Enchantress.
So what did the remaining two?
Medfill, Mira, Bane, and Swamp Thing.
Okay.
Medfill's good.
He's actually super good because of a game-breaking bug, but we won't talk about that until they fix it.
Keep that one.
Did you guys hear about that?
Nope.
No.
Oh my god, I didn't tell you guys. Ooh, you're in for some juicy info once we're off the record.
Okay. So we can exploit that and get banned. Thank you.
It's called testing, Duloth.
All right. So let's move on.
We're just doing what the game allows. Anyway, along with Etrigan came Constantine, and honestly, I've had quite a bit of fun with him. I don't know about you guys. He enables some really interesting team comps.
Yeah,
I think. What are y'all's thoughts on him? Duloth, why don't you go ahead and start us off?
to me, Constantine, comic-wise, is in the same boat as Superman. So when I finally saw him, I said, okay, I will spend a bunch of money onto him. And they did the swap with the gems, and I had two because I needed for the stream by the Martian Manhunter one, but I would have gone crazy on him, so I just got him once, and I have him 12-4 after this PvP weekend. He is crazy good. He just made me play with Doomsday in PvP, which was something that I we couldn't do before. He enables Slobo, he enables Doomsday. He has so many ways to build him up. And, if you don't use him into the leadership position, one guy who is broken with him, the one with the cape and the big ass on the chest, damage immunity guy. Yeah, that guy is just bonkers with him because you will go around stunning people and being, okay, so Etrigan, please hit me. I will be damage immune, so who cares? Just go on. He's just so gross. One of the best characters there is in way long time. But for the comic, we always wanted him. Like people are wanting to get Larfreeze or Atrocitus. So they will go crazy when they are out, sooner or later. And I went crazy when Constantine was out. So that's it. He's so nice and a new way to play some composition.
Mm-hmm.
Doom, what you got for us?
I like him, honestly. The fact that both of his attacks can't get counterattacked, and the one attack that can is such a meteor hit that you're just like, whatever it's touching dies if it touches you. Phenomenal character. And then on top of that, he's just a big old assist calling machine. Like he's like Coda Wonder Woman, but better at what she does. I'm not going to talk about Doomsday. Doomsday can enable Doomsday. He's just his own independent rock. He don't need no Constantine. But man, who he does enable really well, surprisingly, is, as I said before, Medfill, right? Because Medfill is exactly one speed faster than him. So Medfill puts damage immunity on himself. Constantine taunts him. He soaks up a butt ton of damage, and then Medfill taunts on his turn, carrying over a second turn of taunt plus damage immunity. It's ludicrous. It's so fun.
Okay, I will give him tomorrow. I will test this.
It is super fun, unless they have like Zatanna or whoever. But who uses Zatanna nowadays? Nobody.
I don't know why.
It's
just I've met her so many Zatanna in this siege event that just destroyed Power Girl. I don't know why they are using her. And POT is a reality, so I don't know if that's bonkers. But again, if I can use Superman against POT, I can use Medfield. So I will test it.
Cool.
It's pretty great.
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
DP, you got anything for us?
About Constantine? Yeah, I like Constantine just because like the way his kit is, it has so many different elements to his kit, so he can fit into so many different compositions. That's the most interesting thing I like about him. He's so versatile. So you can put him in a bleed comp, you can put him in assist comp, you can put him in a special damage team, you can put him like everywhere. And he's a great leader. Which is awesome. Yeah.
I like him in the debuff team with Scarecrow.
Yeah, there's so much that he can work with. It's just ridiculous. I really like him. Just the concept. The concept is really unique, I think.
Yeah. He's just so good.
Wait, did you guys?
Who's next?
Green Bean, right?
Sorry.
Geared up.
My computer just like froze for like a split second there. I'm not sure what happened there. So there, I'm not sure what the last thing I heard was Duloth starting to talk about Constantine, and then it just froze.
Oh.
Yeah.
What? Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Okay.
You'll hear it in post recording.
Yeah. Well, no.
That's the thing. If it's not recording.
Oh, it's not recording right now?
My computer froze for like a split second there. So.
Okay, so we're off the record?
No. It's no. We're still recording now, but I mean there was like a skip. Anyways,
we lost some moment.
It was blanked out for like about 30 seconds, maybe.
Oh no.
It's
Way to go, DP.
Let's just move on. Next on the
All right, moving on.
March characters.
So, in addition to the new characters that we had in March, we also had, we had one other new character, Martian Manhunter. He doesn't see a whole lot of play currently.
Boo-hoo.
I still like his kit. I don't know why people don't like him.
I like
it
because
he's not good.
I will be the last one. Go on.
Okay.
Oh, okay. You know what? I'll start us off then, because I actually have some remarks about this guy, but only a few. Martian Manhunter to me feels a lot like Assault Warsuit Lex from the very beginning of the game. Someone everyone fought for, and some people even did unethical things for, and now no one uses them. And it's like, well, that was fun. Fist fighting 100 other alliances for some shards of a character no one uses. But, man, he's actually really good. I used him on this one team. What was it? It was like Martian Manhunter, Poison Ivy, I think Constantine was in there, and Defender Justice. And I basically just was like, oh, well, chunk awareness, put awareness on DOJ. She spreads it around. By the end of it, I think I had like 54 awareness on everyone that wasn't DOJ.
Good Lord.
So he's got some really gimmicky stuff. And I think his kit's okay. It's just like, he's a character who canonically is on par with Superman in a lot of ways.
Yep.
He's like running around fist fighting Green Lantern for laughs. And it's like,
Don't go there.
Why does he do no damage?
Yeah, but here's the thing. I mean, I get the complaints about people saying how he's not very good damage wise, but I think that the way you have to think about him is that like his kit is designed in a way that you shouldn't really be looking at him toward in terms of damage. He kind of feels like Ivy, but in my opinion, he's more of like a special version, a special damage version, or an intelligence-based version of Hal Jordan Green Lantern, right? So
that's it.
Right. His kit is very similar to Hal's in most ways. He has a call assist basic. He's got a third that purges and stuns sometimes.
Sometimes.
It's not a guaranteed stun, but whatever. He's got a way to protect himself and buff through his buff, right, which enables the rest of his kit. So he's very much in the same line as Hal Jordan. The only difference is that his leadership is quite different. Whereas Hal Jordan gives shields to everybody, he gives awareness to everybody, which is similar in some ways, but arguably can be better or worse depending on what the team composition is, right? So the way I think of it is that you have to sort of build with him in mind, like with the rest of your team. Sort of the same ways that you're not going to throw Green Lantern Hal Jordan to every team. You're going to put him in the teams where he's...
There are people that do.
Well,
you could.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, but they're there to enable certain things, right? They're enablers. They're not like there to be the damage dealers. So they're there to help your damage dealers get to where they need to get, or they're there to help sustain the rest of your team, right? So I mean, you have to look at him in that way. And if you think of it that way, he does a great job as a support and as a leader. So I think he's a good character. Just sad that he doesn't see enough play.
Okay, I will go briefly. Skipping the Ogre. Sorry, go.
No, I wasn't saying anything.
Okay. No, I think that, okay. It is really nice. The one thing that I didn't want to see, it was him to be available so soon, because it makes the whole competition move. Because you can just don't compete, don't spend gems, and then throw a bunch of money in the game and buy him and have him L5. That's the only thing that I don't like of him. Mm-hmm. Beside that, as Daniel said, he's a different Hal Jordan, which is something that you have to compare him to. And I really like the ability to have him at L3, because I got my last shards today. He is nice. The issue is Harlequin Majester. So when there is an Harlequin Majester on the other side, you want Steppenwolf, or maybe you want Hal Jordan, because you want to play the game and don't get enraged. That's all. And that's the reason I'm not using him a lot, because Harlequin Majestic is, oh boy. Mm-hmm. Please remove the enrage, or give us better way to remove the enrage. beside that, he is a nice one to have. He was practically free if you were in top 100. So
that's a discussion we went over last month. But anyways, so moving on, I guess.
Yeah.
So,
this is one thing.
yeah, Ogre. Hello.
The user you've called is momentarily not available. Please call him back in a few.
Ogre died. What happened to Ogre?
Uh-oh.
No,
All right.
my phone disconnected me from Discord. This is actually the second time now.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay. We were talking about
I don't know what's
moving on to Swamp Thing.
Yeah, Swamp Thing's everywhere. Go figure. He's really good.
Yeah.
He enables a lot of different team comps, surprisingly. My personal favorite is the Enchantress Bane Swamp Thing Clayface used in hero challenges. I love to use it in hero challenges. Don't get like that. I do it in hero challenges. I don't do it in PvP because they're only like tier 9 for the most part.
That's acceptable.
So, but even at gear 9, they're still able to complete all the hero challenge because there's so many extra attacks flying everywhere.
yeah.
So that's why I was laughing my butt off the entire time. If you
It
ever
is
watched
fun
that
to
video,
watch. It's definitely fun to watch when that happens, though.
so
Yeah.
But,
especially when you want quick fights. 10,000 random attacks. No, please stop.
yeah, it's a lot of fun to watch. I love him because he's a bleeder. I stuck him on my bleed teams as my reliable heal immunity.
Mhm.
So he's also a pretty good healer, surprisingly. So, anything real quick, guys? We're kind of running over on time here.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll chip in because I use him a lot on my team, my main team. Man, permanent mend on Bane is stupid good, but outside of that, just the fact that he got what I would like to call now the Bane treatment, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Where WB was like, here's this obnoxiously slow character. How can we make him viable? And then they're like, oh, let's just make him attack literally all the time.
Yeah.
And it works.
Yeah,
It's so weird that it's a working process, but it has yet to fail. They are 2 for 2.
Yeah.
Now they just need to do it for Sinestro.
Camo.
Yeah.
Yeah, Camo. They can just get rid of Camo. No one needs
Camo
them.
get attacks randomly in between turns. Oh my god.
If Kemo Gloop, I just like quit the game. It's too sad. This is scary.
You know someone I'd like to attack between turns? Hetrigan. He shouldn't be so broken, right? If he randomly attacks guys.
You know who I don't want to attack in between turns? Solomon Grundy. That man is slow, but they better not give him that.
Oh my
It's so
god.
scary. All right.
That would be awesome.
Last rework.
All right,
Anyway, we've got Jessica Cruz, who is very similar to Deathstroke, Martian Manhunter, and Constantine. They all kind of care about your allies dying. She doesn't get enough love, but she actually does quite a bit of damage for what she does. So, real quick, what do you guys think? Just Cruz.
You're right. She is just like Deathstroke. No one uses her anymore.
Oh.
Yeah.
Not fun.
The issue is the 3-star system, but we'll talk about it later, so I don't think it's the moment to talk. She's good, but the issue is that Revivers doesn't count to your score. And as the 3-star system is right now, there's no incentive in using her. I would have used her a lot more, but there's just no incentive in doing that.
Fair enough. DP?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not too much to say about her. I think her rework was well done. She does a lot better. She does a lot more than she did before, obviously. But it's sad that she doesn't see enough play. I think that I'm playing around with special damage teams, so she's gonna be a part of that going forward. I'm probably going to gear out my other green special damage characters before her, but she's on that list. Like I'll probably do Captain Cold and maybe Killer Frost or someone before her. But she's there. She's in contention as someone I'm going to gear. Like I have her at gear 10, so getting to gear 11 is not that far of a stretch. So that's all.
All right.
Fair enough.
Well, that sounds all right. All right. So what's next?
Real quick, health of the meta. seems pretty healthy to me.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
I can't complain about it. There's actually a good variety of compositions around right now. So
Lots of variety.
Yep.
Best it's ever been.
You can play whatever you want right now.
Yep. Definitely. Best it's ever been for a long time.
it's exactly where the game should be.
Kudos to
Yeah.
I feel like it
stretching things out.
I feel like it suffers from a common problem where, there's a lot of variety, but you're still kind of forced into the same general 3 or 4 characters. Like, if you're not running Harley Quinn or Steppenwolf or, 2 other characters, you're kind of getting shunted down by the people who do. But if you run one of those characters, you can run whoever you want and it'll work. Heck, just recently I ran, Assault Warsuit Lex Luthor, and I won.
Fine.
Well, I know you do.
I don't run any of those characters.
Really? You don't run Swamp Thing?
I run Swamp Thing.
Well, there you
Not
go.
very often, surprisingly.
Okay.
Guys, I was running Superman, Power Girl, Constantine, and Etrigan, but Etrigan does count to the OP character, right? And I was just beating everyone. And then Swamp Thing rework. I was using him. I didn't want to use Swamp Thing because it was not a weak character for the Alliance. So I didn't level him up. It was level 30-ish. After his weak reward, it took the place from Constantine. So that team is gross, and I only swap it when there's an Harley Quinn Magister on the other side, only because of the enrages. Because I don't have any good purger. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
So PvP is so fun to play right now.
Yeah, I mean it's great. I love that I can just run a full min team and just roll over people.
Yeah.
But it just, I don't know. I'm excited to see where they take it next month because, as I said with Killer Croc, they're in an interesting spot of design space, and I want to see what they do about it.
Okay, let's move things along because we gotta get going.
Yeah, we got a lot to go yet.
Yeah, we have a lot to get through. All right.
Yeah.
So
before I actually turn it over to anybody else, for Duloth and his commentary, I don't really have any predictions for the future metas. I assume everything's going to continue going the way it has been. New characters will come in, they'll start getting used. People will like them or not like them, depending on whatever they have, and we'll go from there. I personally see Killer Croc being a bigger impact than Batman Beyond at first, and then Batman Beyond picking up after that. We'll see what happens. So, just real quick, go ahead.
About April characters, I think that going forward, if we compare it to other months' new characters or rework characters, I don't feel that they're going to be as impactful as previous months, whereas every new character has sort of shifted the meta a little bit every time. I think this time Killer Croc might make a difference dealing with invisible teams, dealing with certain strategies, but it's not going to be meta shifting. I think it's more going to be ways to help answer the meta, but it's never going to be this character has just taken over. I don't think it's going to be anything like that.
So you're basically saying that it's going to be like Supergirl, where she was brought in to answer the meta, not become the meta.
I mean, yeah, that's a good comparison. Probably something like that.
Meta broadening.
Sure. Okay.
And then just real quick, we did get new PvP content.
Cool.
We got the Blitz and Weekend Siege. So we've had our first couple of events roll through. They're definitely interesting. So
the rich get richer.
I'm sure you all know the system by now. I'm not going to go over it because we're running short on time. Just real quick, the Superman Anniversary Siege does have Doomsday board clear. There's various amounts of Superman shards on the line, along with some legendary essence. It's also interesting that the Blitz and Siege have 38 battle essence as the reward.
Do you guys know why?
No, what is the why?
It's because of the... Go on, DP.
It's because the first Action Comics was released in June 1938.
Ooh.
There you go.
Good to know.
I have it in front of me.
And there's your news for the day. Take that to Jeopardy.
I could be the next Ken Jennings.
I don't know if I'd go that far. If they had a Magic the Gathering topic, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. So let's get on to the meat of the PvP discussion.
Go ahead, Mr. Duloth.
Okay, so I will keep it short because we are thinking around out of time. So the point is that the current PvP system doesn't allow you to use with proficiency the revivers, because, you know, if you end up with your Constantine, Doomsday, Lobo, and Red Robin team ending up with all of them alive, even though if they died, let's say, once each time, there's no point in using that team. So it's not fun. But the big issue is the difference of points you get by fighting your opponent. And this special case I'm bringing up is one of the most aggravating one. So we have to understand how the scores are given, because when I fight Hatemel, I get him as a 6-9 at best, okay? And I am, like, let's say, one guy with 15 guys at gear 11, and let's say 10, 20 at 60, okay?
Oh, is there?
And he fought me on stream, and I was to him at 8-14. So it should be 3-6. I should be 3-6 for him, because it's easier for a who. He just posted this roster and he has everyone at gear 70. So
except
you know,
for
this is something. Yeah, except for Joker. So this is something that this shouldn't happen. And the solution to that is the one they are using into the Blitz. Just give us a static 3-9 system where every star mean something, because and you don't, if you are a gear 8 guy and you want to medal into the big leagues, you know what are you going against, because the guys in gear 11 and gear 10 will just autoplay you and will get 3-star in 1 second. So I suppose the issue is the one that I showed up 1 second before, and after this podcast is available to everyone, I will do a Reddit post about it. And that's the power system that's broken right now. And the solution is just give us the Blitz 3-star system, and please fix the thing that the 3-star are counted at the end of the fight, because we have so many ways right now to shut down Deathstroke and Lobos and Revivers. Swamp Thing, healing immunity, Red Hood, healing immunity, Superman, healing immunity, and Mira. They are all available. They are or free-to-play character, or character in Red Alert, or character that had a Blitz for a Superman and an heroic challenge for Mira, and she was even a board clear reward, if I remember correct. So everyone has healing immunity now. You can shut down Lobo for good, and he has the 3 possibility to rest up. So it's been nerfed hardly. I don't like that nerf, but that's not something to talk about. So please fix the 3-star system so it counts at the end of the fight, and give us the 3-9 system, static one, which I was advocating on Reddit on the regular. It would be so good.
I'd be inclined to agree. I mean, especially considering that Deathstroke himself got nerfed so hard.
Yeah.
His buffs only last 2 turns. He's not even a problem anymore. As I said, like with Jessica Cruz, like I've seen maybe a few Deathstrokes around my ranking of about 1,500, because, you know, I don't play PvP. And like I just run over him. I run 2 Mystics, and they're not even tanky Mystics against a full physical team. He's not even an issue. So yeah, I agree. Honestly, the fact that they're still deducting stars for people who revive is just asinine to me. I think that honestly, if you're going to count them at the end of the game, count them at the end of the game. Don't count their deaths.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, cool. So just to summarize, what you guys are saying is that basically, if someone dies, you shouldn't count them like the number of deaths. You should count who's left standing at the end of the battle.
Yes. Right.
Okay. That makes sense. Okay, cool. Moving on.
All right, moving on.
Yeah.
Or are you done?
Yeah.
No, I am done. If you want to talk about the Blitz.
Oh, we just did. We just glossed over that real fast.
Okay, so the Superman Blitz is just crazy hard to fight for. I'm ranked at 17, and people are going crazy. Before it's just gross. And the gem one, I went 19 for the first one, and top I think 1015 500 so that point, and I got the same reward. But the nice thing about those kind of events is that allow people like me that stream to get out on par, or even with a small margin of gain, because if you stream for 5 hours, you have to spend gems and you get nothing in return. Because I don't accept donation, I don't do something like that. And so the ability to get back that kind of money allows you to go on and on. And that's something that I really liked and appreciated. And after this Superman event is done, I will just thank Stunner and the group in some way.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm hoping they bring it back. Now, the thing that's interesting to me, and I'll just add this in really quick, the concept of boosted characters that they did this time around, I like it. Now, mind you, I don't like that they boosted Superman and Power Girl. They don't need it. But the fact that they gave Survival Suit Lex a boost is just, and Sinestro gets a boost and all that jazz. I really like that they're taking really slow, underutilized characters who perhaps need a fix or two and giving them the stats to fight on par. Excellent job. Phenomenally done.
You know what they can do?
What?
Make alliance matter, because they don't have any good way in the game to do that, because they have to rework the whole game. Let's say you have a full Justice League team and they get bonuses with each other, but they can say in the normal PvP, so nothing changes. Let's say this is Justice League week. Every guys in the Justice League will get buffed in the normal PvP. So you are, let's say, incentivized to use those kind of guys. This is Injustice week. This is Secret Society of Villains week. This is Green Lantern week. So your character will get boosted. And that's really nice. It's something that I'd like to, because they will lean you to use those underutilized character. It was really nice. And it's
what I was thinking, actually, not to interrupt, but to add on to that point, they should also maybe consider boosting the characters needed for PvP on Alliance days, because then people who have like undergeared or underutilized characters that they don't normally use cannot have them be dead weight on those days. But go ahead, keep going.
That would be an idea. I was just thinking on the larger scale, because you want. I'm playing MSF too, and there are some interaction between, let's say, the city guys or the Avengers guys or whatever, and I want something here. But to do that right now in the game means that we have to have DCL 2.0, and I don't think they will go in deep about that because they have to rework everyone.
We'll talk about
but
later.
If they can,
we'll talk about that more in the next half.
But if they can do, let's say, as I said, with the Alliance guy, which is buffed, or as you said, the PvP one guy that are buffed, they can do it just week. This is, let's say, I think that they will start with, probably Detective Comic Week, I suppose. What do you think? And then every Batman family guy is buffed. Then there will be, let's say, a Super Family Week, like the one.
Well, what you're saying is not to sort of interrupt you, but I think that's what they're going to do with the sieges, because Superman is just an example of what they're going to do, right? So the Superman one shows that everything's Superman themed. So I'm guessing that most of the sieges will be themed towards something in that vein. So it could be Batman related, Flash related, Lantern related.
But the point is that they saved. Sorry if I interrupt. They said that the Siege and Blitz are something they are testing for April for Superman event thingy, and I don't know how much they are proposing those in the future. So I don't know if it's a one-time thingy. It would be a shame
Oh, it's not going to be a one-time thing. I don't think.
Yeah, they made too much money for it to be a one-time.
Yeah. And I think that I want to pose the question right now because I will forget later on. But we can talk about it into the lame talk part. But why Chemo is considered Superman family?
Wasn't he in Superman? One of the
Yes.
Yes, it's in Infinite Crisis, and so on. But it's like more of a general Metal Man or whatever enemy. It's like you gave even John Jones. He is a Superman-related guy, but it's not buffed.
It's just in that same realm. So I mean, you could stretch for a lot of Superman characters too. I mean, technically, Batman would be a Superman character, but
I wouldn't have. I think Chemo is there just because they love Ogre.
Yeah, Ogre's kind of their favorite child. I'm not going to lie, I was going to say that. But I mean, Superman threw Chemo into space. It counts.
Yeah.
But that's enough about that. Okay. Let's move on.
Yeah.
I think Chemo's last appearance actually was in Super Sons too, so...
Oh, okay. That makes sense then.
Okay.
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't read all the New 52.
I saw the screen cap that Chrompopulous Michael put up of Robin going on the computer going on their supercomputer, showing Chemo popping up, and Superboy's like, "What's going on?"
Yeah.
And then Robin's like, "Oh, it's a."
Superboy's like, ah.
Yeah. Robin's like, "Oh, hey, look, an unviable character," and then Superboy's like, "Who, me?"
Oh, shots fired.
And about that, Michael just threw up an interesting team which I tested, and you can do that today. And it's Superman, Power Girl, Superboy, and Constantine. And Superboy is gross because he attacks like 10,000 times.
Cool.
Test it; it's fun.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess it would be gross if he didn't do like 5 damage every attack. But
You don't care. You stun everyone. He attacks thrice and stun everyone every turn.
All right.
Yeah, but I have Swamp Thing, so none of that damage matters. He attacks 800 times. I attack once and then heal all of it back. But again, neither here nor there. Moving on.
That was a long time.
Let's blaze through this last part really quickly.
Yeah.
I will shut up about this part. So go on.
I'm not even going to ask opinions on the rest of this. I'm just going to blurt it out and we're going to skip ahead.
All right.
New PvE content. We've got April Hero Challenges, Wonder Woman Champion of the Amazons, Jessica Cruz, both viable characters, do them if you can. Batman Beyond 10-day challenges, do it if you can. Apparently the dialogue was cut a little bit short. There has been a few bug fixes and changes as of recently, as of March 29th, I believe. They fixed counterattacking bug of various characters, including Power Girl attacking invisible characters. They fixed various debuffs and buffs applying bugs, not applying correct amount. Various characters no longer apply debuffs on misses. 1.19 update. Various fixes to several characters, notably Constantine's basic now always applying debuffs on miss, Etrigan's overheal visual bug, Clayface losing buffs when assisting. That was a big bug. There's been fixes to red alerts, backwards facing teams, so you will no longer fight your own team, hopefully. The cheat death mechanic is still bugged, so that you will occasionally get defeated when a Clayface or Catwoman or Penguin or somebody cheats death and you get defeated randomly, even though your characters are all still standing. There's also possibly been a stealth buff to Mara's damage immunity, now lasting 3 turns sometimes.
Yeah.
Doom, can I confirm that one?
We'll talk about that off the record. It plays into another big thing. But yes, that is a thing.
All right, passing it on to DP. DP, you got 5 minutes, go.
All right. So going through Shop Talk, there wasn't too much to talk about, but there was one fun thing to talk about. So for the month of April, we had the changes to the PvP packs and Arena packs, as we usually do. We have Huntress and Terra added to PvP packs, which is interesting. Huntress has been in and out of PvP packs a lot, so I'm not really sure, how many more Huntress shards we need, but okay. They unfortunately had to remove Champion of the Amazon, but that's also because she's getting her 6-day event, or she got her 6-day event. And they put in they removed Hawk Girl from the uncommon pack or uncommon slot to replace with Terra. Then in the the arena packs. Wait, it wasn't the arena. The alliance
packs.
Yeah, the alliance packs. I miswrote that one. So the alliance packs, they added Emerald Archer Green Arrow, Poison Ivy, and Deadshot Hired Gun. And then they removed Batgirl for obvious reasons this month. Black Canary for also obvious reasons. But then they also removed Raven. Kind of bummed me out. I wanted more shards of Raven, but oh well.
I'm gonna just throw this out there right now as a prediction: the removal of Raven and what's next month, May?
Titans.
Doesn't the Titans show come out?
Yep.
Okay, so maybe Raven will get a rework or something like that.
Dun dun dun.
There you go. Cool.
We might have a Titans month coming next month.
Cool.
Just saying.
I want the lanterns.
Well,
you know what? Hate mail will fight you for Starfire. So
I don't care about Starfire. Don't worry.
That's why he's. Anyways, so the fun thing that I want to point out was what we kind of went over in the last podcast. I think was the April Fool's pack. Wait, no, it wasn't the last podcast. The last podcast was March. So the April Fool's pack was
the Ogre's Our Favorite Child pack. I remember that one.
So long story short,
don't be jelly.
There was a bunch of chemo packs, and if you bought them in order, you start off with one essence, which gives you some PvP energy and some other stuff, and which the next pack requires PvP energy to buy, then the next pack requires PvE energy to buy, and so on and so forth. So at the end, if you bought them all in order, for one essence you get plus 2 PvP energy, plus 20 PvE energy, and plus 200 gems and a bunch of chemo shards. So, for one essence,
like 50 shards.
Yeah. So you end up getting a lot of stuff for one essence. So it was a nice, fun surprise, I guess you can say. So there's no reason
a fantastic show of favoritism. Hopefully they do more in the future.
All right, so with that being said, we'll move on from the shop talk to community watchtower. Just briefly, let's talk about being YouTubers, because as the reason why we have Duloth on today is because he's been making a bigger name for himself. So congratulations on getting your YouTube channel set up with the proper URL, which is, if you want to tell us.
It's the Duloth Experience. I couldn't shorten it. Sorry.
There you go. So just like our channel, it's always the new channel URLs are youtube.com/c and then slash that name. The
name, the Duloth Experience. Yes.
There you go. So, being YouTubers, I guess, or streamers in general, like, what does that mean to you? So, I mean, before we go, we'll throw it over to Duloth. Ogre and Doom have been making content. Ogre's been making most of the content. I've been making some, and Doom's been adding on recently too, with his Mentastic Adventures. If you guys have been watching those. So, first, the other two Osman, what do you guys think about being YouTubers? What does that mean to you?
I was already a YouTuber before this, so it's most of the same. But Ogre's Bleed teams were stinking up the channel, so I thought I'd throw in some sophisticated Mend teams to help balance it out.
Don't worry, I don't take offense.
What does it mean to you, Ogre? How does it mean to? What does it mean to you?
First and foremost, I want to apologize to my fans, our fans. I haven't been putting up stuff recently. I've had a lot of stuff going on in my personal life. I won't get into it here, but I will get back into creating content. Don't worry.
It's all good.
On a more regular basis again. Chemo will still face off against the world. It will still happen. And I'm actually looking forward to bringing the Bane train along as well at some point.
I like that name too, the Bane train. No pain, no pain, no gain. Was that it?
No Bane, no gain. Yep. No Bane, no gain. But it's been a really exciting experience for me. I mean, it's one of those things that I didn't realize I had fans.
Yeah. Ogre's WB's favorite child, Ogre, doesn't realize that people like him. Yeah, sure. Okay, Ogre.
Yeah, sure. That's Lex.
So, for me personally, because of the two of you, because Ogre started off with Bleed, then Doom started uploading Mentastic stuff, I also started putting up my own series with special damage teams. I call it Smarty Pants. So, the idea is there, it's because everyone's based around intelligence in some way, some shape or form. So, I think that like everyone's just sort of doing what they like to do, and they like to express themselves on YouTube. So, I think that's what's important for all of us. And then each of us have our own sort of separate fans. Like everybody loves Ogre, and then Doom has his following
apparently
from Reddit and from the rest of the community. And I'm sort of like more this niche little subcategory. But
Yeah, just
yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun so far. So I hope we can make more content for everyone. So let's move it on to Duloth. What does it mean to be a streamer or a YouTuber?
Okay, I thought that as a 40-year-old guy, it was strange, and I started streaming for Hearthstone long ago, but it just didn't start off because I think it did twice or 5 times, and then iOS was an update and allowed me to stream so easily, and that's something that is both let's say something that's incentivizing me to play the game, and it's keep pushing me into, let's say, an obligation into the follower, because you have to keep shelving off content and information. And one thing that I didn't realize is that sometimes what I think is, let's say, the basic it's not well known knowledge. Let's use as example the legendary quest for the red alert. Many people thanked me because they didn't know that you could just start the quest and drop out. Because when their best team got annihilated, let's say on node 4, they couldn't go on and they will lose the legendary quest. And if you just go there and sacrifice guys up to the 10th fight, you will complete that legendary quest every day, which is important. So the one thing that I love the most from being a YouTuber is the ability to provide information to the masses and let's say enlighten them in something that they may not know. And one more thing that I like is that I've discovered that playing some strange, stupid composition with Constantine and the one Doomsday, as I said before, or the Superman team I loved to play, was enjoyable by the community. So it's something that you get from that. It's lovely. The issue is that maybe your wife or girlfriend or whatever you have in your life, child, may suffer from it because you have to dedicate time to that. And maybe sometimes I prepare my content while we are, let's say, watching a movie, or because I can multitask. Watching a movie, maybe I record some fights. And sometimes when you have to add a commentary or, let's say, run particular videos or the basic experience series have started, you have to dedicate, let's say, 3 or 4 hours to that. And again, sometimes you have to compromise because you have a life outside the game and I have a job outside the game. If YouTubing or Twitching or whatever could be my main job, and I could, let's say, live out of it, I will probably enjoy it more. But as a side thing, it's it's a constraint you have to calculate when you are wanting to live your life. So it's both, let's say, blessing and
curse.
and second,
A hindrance.
yeah.
I
But it's been nice.
I definitely feel you. It's part of the reason why I don't put as much content up as the other guys do. Me, from my point of view, I'm really busy all the time. I'm working all the time, but at the same time, I'm gaming and working at the same time too at work. But in terms of making content, because to be a streamer or to be a YouTuber, you actually have to sit down in front of your computer and dedicate time and put time aside for that, right? So that's like a set amount of time out of your day that's already for this. It's invested into that.
Yeah.
So you can't just multitask and do that at the same time, right? So I definitely get where you're coming from. Okay, cool.
But
Yeah.
as long as it's well acclaimed, it's okay. At least I've got something back of it.
Like that's not to cut in about non-YouTube based stuff. It's kind of the same thing with the whole insights thing, because like those take me a decent amount of time. I know I joked around and I'm like, oh, these take me like 5 minutes to write. No, it takes me like 2 or 3 hours to get everything done and think up the right puns. So, but
And the songs and the rhyming.
And that's not something I could just whip out and do while I'm on the road. Like I could do it while I'm at work. I think last time, what was it, Constantine? I got like halfway through the insight and I had to dip out because my boss was coming. What a mess.
Yeah.
But, I definitely do it more just for the community's sake. Because if I could just live off of doing that, I'd love to live off of just doing insights every so often.
Yeah.
But as it happens, I just like it when people are like, oh, I learned something new today. Or, wow, that was a terrible pun. I never want to read this again. So, I definitely understand what you're talking about when it comes to time constraints.
Yeah.
All right. So if that's all good, let's move on to the Q&A and wrap this section up. Okay?
Yeah. So, I don't want to take so long.
It's all good. So questions from the community on DCL related topics. Hate Mail asked a couple of questions. First one says, can you explain the difference, the different gear sets and what buffs who and when? For example, I still don't understand Harley Quinn Mad Jester. Does she gain power from strength ups, intelligence ups, or what? Is her damage physical, special, or both? And his second question is, when are raids coming to DCL? So let's talk about the first one.
Oh, I can answer the first one pretty easily because I actually did an entire expose on what the different stats mean. Currently, it used to be actually that some characters had mixed damage, i.e. chemo, who was really weird. But now all damage is separated into 2 separate distinct classes, being special damage and regular damage. Now, normally if a character just deals physical damage, it won't say special damage anywhere on their kit. If it does say special damage, then they tend to use special damage abilities, exceptions being like Superman, whose heat beams are the only special damage, Joker, who I think has Joker toxin as his special. But generally, all characters...
All special, I think now.
Generally, as a general
rule... I think after the rework, they're all special. I'm not sure.
You're talking about Joker Crown Crime?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I know his punch is still physical damage, but I think the rest of it's special.
Okay.
But generally, as a rule of thumb, if the character says special on it, then they usually have a fully special kit. And if they don't, it's usually a fully physical kit.
Yeah.
And Harley Quinn specifically benefits from physical stuff.
Yeah. So just to specify on Harley Quinn, and then also another character sort of fits a weird description. So as Doom said, that she's all physical in terms of how she does her damage. The only thing about int down on her kit is sort of a cute part of her kit, because it's sort of that whole big dummy aspect, that whole like her character from the comics. If you think about it, it's kind of irrelevant to her. Because she doesn't do special damage, but she does do more damage based on the number of int downs on the character. So she indirectly does more damage, or I guess directly, for the moves that care about int down, right? But it benefits other characters who do special damage. So if you pair her with a special damage team, then
like Joker, Clown Prince of Crime.
There you go.
Or Firestorm.
There you go.
Or Retrogan.
The reason that I point out Joker, Clown Prince of Crime is that both of their kits actually synergize very well.
Yep.
Yeah.
He cares about Enrage. She cares about helping him out. Like, they play really well together.
Yep.
Go figure.
So
it's like they were designed that way.
Another character sort of boggles my mind. I brought this up on Reddit a while ago. Was Mirror Master. So he's got I guess you could say, an intelligence-based kit, right? He's a special damage gear set, sorry. His gear set is special damage. But a lot of his moves do regular damage. So, and actually I brought this up specifically about his AoE, because it looks like his AoE is only regular damage. The only move in his kit that does special damage is his basic, which is gated. So...
Actually... both his AoE and his basic gain special damage from the legendary upgrades.
Which is weird because you should say that.
It is. And when they rework him, I expect that to change.
Yeah, I think so. It's just a typo thing, right? So if he's invisible,
well, it's just it was he's from the original game. You got to keep that in mind.
Yeah, that's fair. So
the game was designed differently back then. Yeah. So
he'll get reworked eventually. So when that comes around, they'll just reword everything correctly.
So, someday,
right? Yeah, someday.
Okay, so the next the next question, the hate mail. I don't know if this is a troll question or not. When are raids coming to DCL? Soon.
Never.
This hate mail would know just as well as me and Doom would.
Yeah, this is another question. This is another question probably for the second half of the show that we'll probably talk about a little bit later too. But this is probably something that is on their radar and they'll implement at some point, but we don't know when.
Well, okay. Well, in fairness, it's not going to have a shortage of characters they could use because you have Darkseid, Anti-Monitor, Black Rider, boss characters.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not like they don't have options. It's just a matter of how they're going to implement it. But that's neither here nor there.
Cool.
Right.
So moving on with the questions. Jay Mitchell asks, I've seen some characters in PvP miss attacks when no one has any evasion stacks on them. What's the deal there? Have you guys ever seen
just random misses?
Yeah. I don't know.
I think the only...
I got nothing.
Me neither.
The thing that I was saying is that if they are the opposing, if they are your own, you may notice. But if you are your opponent, or there's a Batman Beyond in the content, you may not. There was a visual glitch with this hit chance down, and when the opponent, the bots, don't think about it. So the only thing that I can think about, sorry for the repetition, if it's at the start of their turn, they get the hit chance down from Batman Beyond, and they will miss. That's the reason. I talked about this on Discord, and that was my idea of them randomly missing.
So he put hit chance down on some characters, but you can't see the visual glitch.
And you don't notice, or there's a visual glitch where it doesn't appear. And if there's no Batman Beyond, then there's clearly a bug, because that's the only thing that I can think about.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Then.
And also, you got to keep in mind, a lot of people, when they're setting up their attacks, they already know what they're going to do. So a lot of people tend to rush through their attacks.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
A lot of animations, the debuffs will fall off before the animation is finished. Like Defender of Justice's Lasso Whip or Harley Quinn's Hammer. Debuff effects will actually fall off sometimes before those animations are even done. So,
yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, and that last question from Garbopulous Michael: invisibility versus evasion. So,
say what?
Invisibility versus evasion.
So, for example, would you prefer which camp are you in? Do you think invasion is better or invisibility is better? For example.
All right, so I want to tackle this one.
Go ahead.
All right, so this is just my thought on it. They don't have to be mutually exclusive, first off, because some of the characters that can go invisible also have evasion.
Like Batman.
So, like Batman. Batman Beyond and Batman CC. Let's be specific here. Okay. So, here's my personal take on it. It literally comes down to the tank for the group. And when you're comparing the tanks, aka Harley Quinn Mad Jester and Clayface, who's more annoying to deal with? The answer, Clayface.
Yep.
That's just, he's more annoying to deal with because of the cheat death, and if his entire team is invisible and can go invisible on their own, he's so much harder to take down than an evasion character like Harley Quinn. There's so many ways to deal with her. So that's my thought.
Nope.
No?
Because you have no, not at all. Because Harley Quinn, if she just had the evasion up, it would have been like you are saying. But the issue is that she has taunt and she applying enrages. So you have to bring someone that have to purge your enrages, like Enchantress, Hal Jordan, Steppenwolf, or whoever. because if you bring, let's say, DOJ to counter her, and she gets enraged, she smashes her face on her evasion up, and she can die on her first turn. While
I've always disagreed with DOJ being a counter to her anyway. So
I was saying that some guys bring it up, like say you have two ways to remove her evasion up and to purge her taunt. While for Clayface, you just don't care. You use a special kind of guys and Red Robin, let's say Red Robin and Retrigan, and you kill the others. You are not bothered about the invisibility with True Sight. While evasion up, if especially on guys like Harlequin Majester or Batgirl, if you miss, you are in a world of art, because that Batgirl will clean up your buffs. Harlequin Majester will retaliate and will get turn meter up, and then add more damage to you. Black Canary will retaliate and get turn meter up. That's not even fun. So I think that evasion is way worse than invisibility. Invisibility you can easily get around. Have you ever faced a 7-stack or more Siren? How do you kill her?
I have several ways.
Yeah,
you have
a couple ways too.
Yeah, but it's easier if she was just invisible and you can just smash her with AoE, or I don't care about invisibility. If they don't, it's not Clayface invisibility that gives them 7 stacks of agilities up. You can just power girl AoE the world. You don't care. You can bleed them up with Siren. You don't care. AoE will just hit them. While evasion up, it's way better. And
I think we have to stop looking at characters, like specific characters and ways of like.
If I could chime in, actually,
go ahead.
I'm gonna go ahead and tag myself in on this one. The way I look at it is it's less about who you're using, more about who you're fighting. If you're fighting retaliation-based characters, Arcus, the likes, invisibility is hands down king. Because if I punch you with a 9 evasion anything, and you have an Arcus, and your Arcus hits that 10% chance, my character's dead. If I'm invisible, you don't even get that 10% chance. But on the other hand, if you have characters like Red Robin, characters like World's Greatest Detective who can just whip the invisibility off of you, then you're definitely going to want that evasion over the invisibility, because that's something that's not even remotely close to being as easy to remove. If they can't remove it and they miss, you can sometimes get those counterattack effects. And all in all, I would say that evasion is definitely more universally good, but invisibility in the points where it beats evasion, it beats it hands down. Like, it's not even close. So that's my input on it.
The way I'm looking at this debate is not like character specific, but sort of mechanic specific, right? So I think of it more of it as how do you answer each of them, and not in terms of like, okay, let's go AoE against invisibility and so on. Let's say, for example, evasion, it can be countered by characters that can't miss, for example, or ways to enable you having more hit chance up, right? But at the same time, invisibility, how do you counter invisibility? Either somehow everyone on their team being invisible so no one's invisible, or having true sight and so on. There are mechanics to counter both of them, so they're equally balanced in certain senses. But at the same time, evasion, as Doom was saying, is generally more powerful, but it's in a vacuum. So it's specific to the character that has that evasion on them, right? Invisibility enables certain things, right? Like other characters on your team being invisible enables another character to do something. So the mechanic can be good or bad depending on what the team composition is. So I don't think that invisibility is better than evasion or evasion is better than invisibility. I think they're both equally really, really good. It just really depends on how you want to go at dealing with it.
Yeah. So. You know that there's an issue because invisibility has a kind of diminishing returns. So if your whole team is invisible, no one is invisible. Mm-hmm. If you are in a 1-on-1, 1 versus 1 situation, your invisibility doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. And if not for the retaliation or double attack, because, Etrigan won't attack twice on an invisible guy. Constantine call assist won't work. But I think that's some kind of, let's say, design space that's destroying someone's kit, because Constantine should be able to call an assist on an invisible guy. Beside that, evasion doesn't have that kind of diminishing return. So if everyone has 10 evasion up, okay, you can kill them with the Steppenwolf or whatever, but it doesn't diminish his power. While if you have, let's say, Clayface and I don't know, Power Girl in your team, and Clayface on turn 1 gives invisibility to Power Girl, you are still able to POT her and shut her down, while giving Batgirl evasion up to the whole team doesn't make it awkward. I don't know if you get my point.
Invisibility has a lot less random elements to it. Evasion doesn't suffer from the same issue, because evasion, 30% is 30%. If they're not hitting, they're not hitting. But with invisibility, you can still hit them. And it's just slightly worse because of that fact. I get it.
Okay, so, I mean, I get this debate is not really, I mean, I don't think there's a clear winner. There's a clear answer. I mean, there's good, positives and negatives to both sides. So, I mean, let's just leave it at that then. All right, well...
The short answer is use Batman CC, who has both.
Or Batman Beyond. But actually, if I may, I did actually receive a question that someone asked if I would pose to you guys.
Go ahead.
This is a really short one. Each of you pick one character that you think most needs or deserves a rework. And I'm not talking like, oh, well, I think Chemo, blah, blah, blah. Chemo doesn't need a rework. He's viable. I'm talking like the most unviable characters in the whole game. Who desperately needs this rework. But you can only pick one.
I completely disagree with that, DP.
I don't know. I haven't used him, so I just
he does need some work, but he doesn't need a total rework.
Oh, okay. So that's what we're saying. A total rework.
Yeah, total. Like complete retooling. Like Jessica Cruz levels of fixing.
I think Hot Girl is my choice.
I was going with Hot Girl too, or you won't see it coming, Supergirl.
I could see. I could see that.
I could see that.
Supergirl. My pick then, if we're saying total rework, I'd say Blue Beetle is my pick. Blue Beetle, I want him to be special damage. I want him to be special damage because the Scarab is, as you guys are saying in one of the other podcasts, is that the Scarab is now considered a magical thing, I guess, a magical artifact.
It's an artifact.
Yeah, so if that's the case, then he should be special damage based. That's what I think. So.
But it's not unplayable right now.
He's not, but his kit feels so gimmicky because it's like a shield. It is
gimmicky, but it works.
Yeah, it does work. So.
It works.
Yeah.
I mean, but who's using shields?
I would take Blue Beetle over Hot Girl.
No, I wouldn't. Hot Girl is actually stupid strong, especially with the likes of Constantine, who can just whip her out constantly.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well,
like 30% stun chance baseline is nothing to sneeze at, and she does damage.
Yeah, that's better than Superman if you think about it. Superman's 25%. So.
And you have to devote the point to it.
Yeah.
And one guy that I always bring up, if I'm not allowed to say Ogre or Supergirl, is Yellow Lantern Sinestro. Because he needs a little bit of speed, and his leadership is not worth anything. And I hope that we can talk about that in Lame Talk part. They should introduce Fear, as I said many times, and rework him around that, and Scarecrow too. But we'll talk about it later. I
think that they actually have figured out Fear as being hit chance downs.
No, it's better. You know
then
what?
Give Sinestro hit chance downs. It'll make him so much better.
Yeah. You say
my
Fear.
Personal vote is Assault Warsuit Lex, because really, what does he even do?
He purges everything. Have you ever found him in Red Alert or in this new Blitz?
Yes, I have. I literally smack him with Medfill Strength down and then watch him as he spends the next 8 turns damage immuning himself. Like,
it's okay.
I say he only does 2 things, but he does those things really well.
No, he doesn't. He gives
Yes, he
himself
does.
damage immunity for 2 turns and then proceeds to do absolutely nothing. And then he has
He
anti-alien
purges like 8
strike.
buffs and
Yes.
can't miss.
Okay, literally, there's 12 other characters who are significantly objectively better than him that can purge more buffs. So, why would I ever bring him? I can bring Defender of Justice and have an actually good character. I could bring Yellow Lantern Sinestro and purge off all the buffs I'd really want.
No, you won't.
Yellow
You will
Lantern
die
doesn't
before.
Stop Harley.
All right.
Yellow Lantern Sinestro, I can hit Harley once and take away everything.
But you have to hit her.
This question is getting really derailed.
Just
Anyways,
then
but
talk about later.
Assault Warsuit Lex,
All right.
that's my vote. I think he's terrible, but
All right, so Assault Warsuit Lex, Hawk Girl, Supergirl, DP. What was your vote?
Blue Beetle.
Blue Beetle.
Yeah.
All right, so those are our 4.
Yeah, I suppose that
Okay.
Yellow Lantern was a contender, but
Yellow Lantern, honorable mention.
Yeah.
So
dishonorable mention.
dishonorable mention, however we want to phrase it. Those are our top 5 characters for rework. No specific order.
All right.
So
let's wrap things up.
All right, let's cap it out.
Yeah.
all right, so this brings us to the end of the game talk of this episode. Just want to give a huge shout out and thanks to everybody for listening. Thank you again for Duloth for joining us. Stay tuned for the lame talk. Any final words, real quick, guys?
Doom.
just thank you for having me.
Okay. Cool. Doom.
Okay.
No, I've got nothing to say. Thanks for listening as always.
Cool. So just to help plug Duloth's channel again, if you guys can follow him on YouTube at youtube.com/c/the Duloth Experience. And for us, you guys can, if you haven't already, follow us on social media at Twitter, Facebook, and SoundCloud at The Oddsman, and on YouTube at youtube.com/c/The Oddsman. And if you like what we're doing, help support us on Patreon at patreon.com/The Oddsman. And that's it. And there we go.